Hello, and welcome to this edition of Without a Route, a web-based show where we take you through the configuration of Cisco routers, switches, and firewalls. My name is Mike Hall. I've completed both the Cisco Certified Network Professional and Security Professional certifications, and I'm currently working towards my CCIE. Although these episodes may be helpful in gaining a Cisco certification, my primary goal is to take you through the real-world configuration. I'll strive to make each episode between 5 to 10 minutes. With that out of the way, let's get started. Okay, welcome to the special episode of Without a Route, where we take a look at a new utility I'm releasing called Snafu, the Switch, Network, and Firewall utility. Let's go ahead and take a look. So this utility that I'm releasing is written as an Excel macro in VB. So you will need Excel and you will need to enable macros to use it. As you can see, there are two sheets down at the bottom of the screen, the primary menu, which is where you start the utility, and there is a second sheet down at the bottom which has IP address information. We'll look at that a little bit later. So first off, you notice I have a couple of links up at the top. I have a link to my blog. This is where you'll be able to find any updates, etc. And then I've got a link to my YouTube channel, so any training, etc. you can find there. Last, I've got a link to configuration files. This will be on your local drive after we've started the utility. So let's go ahead and click on the icon. As you can see, I've got some general licensing information. I'm going to go ahead and stop the video here for a second, and we'll start up inside the utility. Okay, I'm going to try to go through this pretty quick. Here we are inside the application. You notice there are a number of tabs at the top. The first and primary tab is the Global Information tab. It's where all your global information that will be integrated into the switch and router and firewall configs. As you can see, things like domain name, the first part of the host name, a local username, local password, enable password, authentication type, local TACACS or radius, as well as some other enterprise features like SNMP, NTP, and your login banner. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pause the video and we'll take a look at the next tab. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at the next tab, which is the switch config tab. This will generate config files for 3 switches in a diamond shape, trunks between all 3. Let's go ahead and take a look at the first column. As you can see, you can put in the number of VLANs up to 4, the first entry. You put in your starting VLAN. You can put in the names for up to 4 VLANs as well, and tell it what type of interfaces, fast Ethernet or gig. The next column, you have the default access VLAN. Typically that's going to be the first VLAN you create anyway. It also has the option to put in a voice VLAN. Again, this is the starting VLAN plus 4, so if you start with 12 it would be VLAN 16. You can put in your management VLAN. This can be the same or different than the default access VLAN. Your switch management IP, the last octet will change by 1 for each switch, so if this is 10, switch 2 would be 11, switch 3 would be 13. Put in your mask, your gateway, tell it whether you want trunks between the switches, if you want only to allow specified VLANs between trunks, etc. Tell it if it's 2448 ports, and go ahead, save, and generate your config. As you can see, it will generate config snippets in both windows, but it actually generates config files as well on the local drive. Okay, so here we are in the network configuration window. This will generate config files for up to 20 sites. It will pull information from the global config as well as some IP address space, which we'll go into in a little bit. The first option there is to tell it the last router you want. So if you want to generate configs for routers 1 to 2, you put in 2 and it will generate the first 2 configs. You can choose the LAN interface type, whether fast E or gig E. Tell it if you want to use VLANs or the physical interface. Number of VLANs, up to 4. Give it a starting VLAN as well as the option to add an additional VoIP VLAN. In the next column, there are 2 WAN types. These are currently read-only. They are read from the WAN circuits tab over at the end of the column. We've got encapsulation types. It supports currently HDLC, PPP, or PPP multi-link. Frame relay is not currently supported in version 1. Next, we have a config window which will appear if you have BGP chosen as your routing protocol. This is the telco BGP autonomous system number. This assumes that you're going to do like a layer 3 MPLS with the telco. That will disappear if you choose routing such as EIGRP or OSPF. Currently, it supports essentially 3 different routing protocols: EIGRP, OSPF, or BGP. It will do static routing. Essentially, it will just replace or just remove any dynamic information. You also have a custom config down in the bottom where you can put your access class lists for VTYs, etc. So let's go ahead and if you click save, it'll save the information, and click generate config. It'll show you the config for the last router that it generates. So this is router number 10. This is the actual config that it's generated. It will throw in all the information, your local authentication, local user, etc. from the global config. And all of this information is saved in a config file. The same is true for the previous 1 to 9 routers. They're all saved as well. Okay, that's it. Let's go ahead and take a look at the WAN tab. Here we are in the WAN tab. As you can see, there's currently only supports 20 sites, and this is actually because of a limitation in the Excel forms themselves. The first column is to choose between an Ethernet or serial WAN. Ethernet, think about like a Metro Ethernet type WAN. That will be configured essentially as a big flat cloud in a /24 network. If you choose serial, which is what I have it defaulted as here, each site will be connected as a /30. The next column over, you can choose between the new style VWix or the old style Wix. It will change the config based on that checkbox. And last, you have the choice to choose multi-link. It will configure PPP multi-link. Okay, that's it for the network config. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and take a look at the snippet configuration tools. First up is the VPN configuration. This will generate cut and paste configs for 2 routers, iOS VPNs. Basically, you can put all your pertinent information in for both sides: the peer address, interface type, policy, the IPsec entries for the networks, and your phase 1 and phase 2 information. The only thing this will not do is the NAT. That said, I may add it in at a later point. So enter your information, save, click generate, and as you can see, 2 text boxes come up, cut and paste information for router 1 and router 2. The same thing here for HSRP, GLBP. Basically, if you're going to do your high availability with the HSRP, go ahead and put your information in, save, generate, and you've got cut and paste config for both sides. Here we have Ether channel. It'll do LACP or PAGP. You choose which type of Ether channel you want to create. Put in your port information or your port channel numbers. Tell it the starting interface, FASTI, GIGI, and your blade and number, port number, etc. How many ports you want. Tell it if you want to do trunk or access ports, and go ahead and generate your configs. As you can see, this will support the newer style interface range commands, or for the older switches, it will support doing the individual interfaces. Go ahead and cut and paste on both sides, and away you go. And let's go ahead and look at finally the Firewall kiosk. This is a very simple internet kiosk design. It's for a DMZ restricted type firewall. Basically, it's configured to allow outbound internet browsing from both the DMZ and from the inside. It will actually allow you to choose either DHCP or static IP address for the outside, and will create the appropriate routes, etc. You can put in different DNS as well. Click save and generate your config. As you can see, it'll show you the config file here, but it will also generate a kiosk ASA config file. Okay, and now we can go ahead files are already there. We've got our firewall kiosk config. We've got config files for 10 routers. And we have config files for 3 switches at each site. At this point, it's really simple to turn a new site up. Just go ahead, power your device up, TFTP your new config in place, and you're ready to go. There is one more portion that we'll take a look at here, and then we'll be done with the overview. Okay, so the last part I want to show you here is how to update your interface descriptions. So if you take a look at the IP address space page, you'll see the different IP ranges that I've got set aside. But you also see a physical address and 2 circuit description tabs, or columns actually. So what you do is you can put in the physical address for your site, and then go ahead and create one here, and then we'll go ahead and put in circuit descriptions for 2 circuits. Here's circuit 1. Then we'll go ahead and make a similar circuit here for circuit 2. Go ahead and put your circuit information in. And we've got our information in. You also have a couple of columns here that you can choose for your information, such as your Ethernet or serial information, VWIC or WIC. I don't recommend at the moment changing that information through here just because it won't necessarily update all the menu items correctly. It can be done, but I don't recommend it. So that said, once you have your changes in place, as you can see, you can actually scroll through here, but the items are locked, so you can't change them. You can't screw anything up. At a later date, I will be adding the ability to change the different LAN ranges. But for now, I just wanted to show you the IP space, particularly the description and the circuit IDs. And we'll show you, we'll hop back over to Snafu here, and we'll show you that it updates the circuit descriptions. Hold on, let me go ahead and hop on over here. Hop back over to the menu, click on the icon, click OK. Go to our networking. We'll go ahead and generate a config here. And as we'll scroll down to the serial interfaces. And as you can see, we've got our physical address and our circuit IDs on the serial interfaces. So that's pretty much Snafu in a nutshell at the moment. Again, this is version 1. If I get a lot of interest, I will be adding a number of different features, so you can always check the blog if you're interested in learning more.